Hello, everyone. We are so excited to share with you information about our writing units this year. We think that these writing units will increase engagement and excitement for the writing process, not just for our students, but we also think you will love teaching these writing units. So I'm going to share a few things from a district perspective. And then our writing ambassadors will share some things unique to your units. First, I wanted you to know that this process has been tied to our district strategic plan, specifically Tactic 1.4 of collaboration. Collaboration has happened with Matt Glover and with our team of writing ambassadors. 5.2 customize education to meet the interest of our students. That is why we have open genre and open topic units. Workshop already addresses the unique strengths and needs of our kids. And then 6.2 is professional development. So we have poured into our writing ambassadors through book studies, through collaboration with Matt, through collaboration with each other, so that they could then really bring you high quality units. And you have also received some professional development. You had 2 hours last year. I believe it was 2 hours with Matt Glover when he talked about mentor text. You had 2 hours with him today. You will have the opportunity in time to go to our writing workshop lab teachers' classrooms and observe them. And coaching is always an opportunity for everybody. So don't hesitate to reach out for some coaching as well. I am more than happy to partner with you. Our writing beliefs. So you guys have seen these before. These are our 12 beliefs that was collaboratively decided with a group of teachers and admin a few years ago. And I am happy to say that these writing beliefs are in some way in all of our units. So I am super excited to watch these come to fruition. But specifically, I wanted to highlight choice, projecting, celebrations, and modeling are the 4 beliefs we're probably most excited about, although I would add audience in there as well, audience and purpose. But a lot of choice in these units is going to drive engagement. Projecting is the idea that we can't know exactly what our students are going to need every day of the unit, that we have to be student-centered, but we can predict what they're going to need, and we have some projected lessons for you. Celebrations, we have built celebrations into every single one of our units. And then modeling, different ways to model, but one way we're going to ask you to model this year is having your own teacher or mentor text. So for upper grades, that means having your own teacher's notebook, your own writing notebook. For younger grades, that means writing in your own books and using those books as models for kids. Briefly, I wanted to talk about the K6 matrix and show you from a district perspective. We're super excited to have a variety of process studies in green, a variety of craft studies in that pinkish reddish color, and then we have a variety of genre units. Notice that our genre units are very narrowed. Some grade levels in the past had writing type units. So in the past we had informational unit or we had a narrative unit. We learned from Matt Glover that those are actually writing types. Informational, narrative, and opinion are writing types. We wanted genre units, so things such as reviews as an opinion unit, biographical sketches that we have in 4th grade as an informational unit, memoir like we have in 2nd grade for a narrative unit. So our units are very genre focused, not writing type focused. Non-negotiables. So things you need to know from a district perspective. There will be a district process for adding units, and that won't take place this year. We're not adding units this year, but we can in the future. We certainly want your feedback on that. So if you have units at some point that you want to add in the future, chat with your team and then chat with me, and we'll talk through that. Lessons need to align to primary and secondary goals of the units. Your writing ambassadors will give you more information on what that is. But what we're saying here is you cannot add in a bunch of other skills, a bunch of other learning targets that don't align to the primary and secondary goals within that unit. So, for example, if you have grammar lessons, for example, that you know that your kids need, we trust your judgment on that. It just cannot be within these units because we have to protect the fidelity of these units. So that means that you would either need to find another time of your day to teach those lessons, which means you don't shorten workshop time in order to teach those lessons, or it means that you teach those lessons in between units. So let's say that you teach Unit 1, you can have a few days of grammar lessons. A few days, not a few weeks, because that will throw off our pacing on our units. And then maybe you have a few more days after a couple other units in the future. So that is an option for you as well. If you have questions about that, don't hesitate to reach out to me. And then last, modifications. A Google form will be sent out after each unit for you to give feedback on that unit. Please make sure you fill out those Google forms because that is your opportunity for your voice to be heard so that we can constantly be looking at our units and seeing how we can make them even better, because units are never done completely. Curriculum is never done. It's an evolving process. So we want to continue to make them better, and we need your feedback for that. So thank you in advance for that. And last is support. Our writing ambassadors are so passionate, so excited about these units, but also helping you as you teach these units. So please reach out to them if you have questions or need help in any way. You can chat with me about your units. We can sit down and talk through a unit, and I can clarify any questions and answer any questions that you have. You can partner with me for some coaching work, some non-evaluative coaching work. My job is not to judge you. My job is to support you through the process. So inviting me into your classroom so that we can partner together is certainly an option for you. Or you can read or ask to borrow our craft and process studies and projecting possibilities for writers. And I would highly recommend you read the overview that is a part of every unit. So your writing ambassadors will show you where this is, but that really tells you kind of what the unit goal is, how do you assess throughout the unit, how do you use mentor text throughout the unit. That really is so helpful in understanding the units. Okay, here in a minute, your writing ambassador will talk to you about mentor text as well as unit information. But I have one last thing before we do that. Give me 1 second to bring it up. Okay, so this is something Matt Glover has talked with us about, and we knew was something we probably needed to have some discussions about, which was how do we get the most reading and writing time for our students? So I am talking about writing workshop and reading workshop with this part. So we know that there's a direct tie between the amount of time our kids read and the amount of time our kids write and their achievement in both of those areas. But the reality is sometimes it is hard to get all of that time or a good amount of time into our schedules for reading workshop and writing workshop. So let me talk you through a few scenarios and show you the impact of certain ways that you structure workshop in your week and how that impacts the amount of time that they get. So scenario 1, let's say, for example, and I know some of this have this for workshop time, you have 5 30-minute blocks. So basically you teach workshop every day, 5 days a week for 30 minutes. So that is a 10-minute mini lesson. Even assuming you can keep it at 10 minutes, which is sometimes hard, you have 15 minutes of work time and a 5-minute share. That gives you 15 minutes a day times 5 days a week. The kids get 75 minutes of reading or writing time. And so I want to stress, this is just work time. We're not counting mini lesson time. We're not counting share time. We're talking about the bulk of time where kids are engaged in authentic reading and writing. So this way they get 75 minutes a week. That is hard. You guys have told me that is hard to fit in workshop in that amount of time, and you are correct. So there are options. So one option, which may or may not work for you, is to have a three days a week, have workshop for 50 minutes instead. So you would have to really look at your schedule to see if you can rearrange some things to even make that work. So if you could do a 10-minute mini lesson, 3 days a week. That's it. And know that if you do this, we are okay with this. If that means it takes you a little bit longer to get through your units, that is okay. Because again, we're going for the goal of how do we get a good amount of reading and writing time. So again, 10-minute mini lesson, 35 minutes of work time, and a 5-minute share. This gives you 35 minutes times 3 days a week, which is 105 minutes in the week. So doing it that way, you go from 75 in the first scenario to 105. That's what we're shooting for. That's increasing the amount of time our kids read and write. Now, that may not work for you. The reality is you may not be able to make your schedule work like that. So another option that Matt Glover shared with us is this. Instead of thinking about teaching workshop every single day, like all 3 components every single day, spread workshop out across the week. For example, Monday could be a 10-minute mini lesson and 20 minutes of work time, no share time. Or Tuesday, next Tuesday is start with 20 minutes of work time, no mini lesson, and then a 10-minute reflection time. So workshop is really spread across 2 days right there. Okay. Then Wednesday and Thursday basically repeats that process. Workshop is spread across 2 days. And then Friday is a 10-minute mini lesson, 20-minute work time. So doing it this way, if you add up all of those work times across the week, your kids would get about 100 minutes of reading or 100 minutes of writing, whichever one that you're doing. Compared to, I know some of you, especially in the primary grades, sometimes you tell me you only have 10 minutes for your kids to read and write every day. That's only a total of 50 minutes. If it's just 10 minutes, 50 minutes a week. Again, that's what you currently have. I think most of you currently have about 20 to 30 minutes of workshop time at the primary level. And that's not a lot of time. Maybe you might have 75 minutes of work time depending on how quickly you do your mini lesson. But doing it this way that I'm highlighting here, you get in 100 minutes. So you could potentially double the amount of time that your kids have to read and write. And I guarantee you that it's going to make an impact on their reading and writing achievement. So just another option. We are not going to mandate this or require this at a district level because we just can't, because your schedules are different and there are different ways that your schedules are organized with specials and everything like that. So it doesn't make sense for that to come from us. We want you to have the autonomy to figure out, talk with your team, see what works for you. Again, with the goal being, how do we get the most amount of reading and writing time? So I would encourage your teams to talk about this and start brainstorming. And if you need some ideas or want to brainstorm with me, don't hesitate to reach out. All right, guys, thank you for everything that you are going to do this year. We appreciate you, and we hope you have a fabulous time teaching these writing units this year. All right, have a great day.